Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and this is another episode of Thrifty Gaming Pickups with my dog, Lily here, Lily the dog. Now, in case you don't know, this is a series that I do on my second channel. Yes, I said my second channel, where I get into a room with Lily here, and what we do is we go through all of the stuff that I end up picking up. So, as you can see, Lily is all relaxed, ready to get this episode started. Now, if you want to see some more videos that are, I guess, more technical, that aren't going to be as rough as this, because this is just pretty casual, laid back, and just a few cuts here and there. If you want to see some other content from me, my main channel is linked down below in the description. Of course, if you want to see more episodes of Thrifty Gaming Pickups, you can stick around here, subscribe to the channel, that would be absolutely appreciated, and more will come out. So, this is all from... You know what? Pretty much one weekend here, so I decided to do this episode. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and give Lily another treat. So there you go, Lily. There you go. Thank you for taking it so gently. I don't even have to say the word anymore. So yeah, let's get into it here. And of course, if you didn't pick up on it, this is just stuff I get from thrift stores, games that I get on, good sales and such. Do I want to? Yeah, I'll go ahead and go through this. I have a big stack of games literally to my left side here, and I was considering getting them out, but I already have all this stuff out. You all are probably wanting to see what is going on here, so let's go ahead and get into all of this. So, first of all, as you can see, there is absolutely no shortage of consoles right here. We got a PS2 Slim, a Xbox, a DS Lite, and a GameCube. And these were all picked up within 48 hours of each other. Right, Lily? See, even Lily cares about it. So, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing here. So, I ended up getting these on a day where I was getting off of work. I had one of those days where, I don't know, maybe sometimes you all might have it. It's retail therapy for me, at least. But I was just having a day where, I was tired. It was a little bit rough. Things weren't going as expected. More just, I was working on some things that were a little bit frustrating. I was getting off work. I got off later than expected, so I didn't have time to do what I wanted to exactly. And I was kind of in this mood of like, you know what? For some reason, I have this feeling to hit up a thrift store before I head home. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a thrift store. If I spend some money, cool. If not, whatever. Then I'm just going to head home and do whatever the hell I want to. And sometimes it's really good to follow those feelings, because I ended up getting our first haul here, which was all of this stuff. So not everything here, of course, but I'll get into it. So I went ahead and I went to the electronics area, and I found this Xbox right here. Now, it was funny. The guy I was dealing with seemed to be very confused, very new, and kind of scatterbrained all over the place, because what I was asking was like, this, as you can see, this comes with, this says 2. There was a bag directly on top of it. And I asked him if I could see the Xbox. So he brought it over, and I was like, hey, is that bag on top included? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, are you sure? Because, that's cables and Xbox games and stuff. And he was like, oh, well, I don't know. Let me see. So he had to ask one of his coworkers if that was included. And the coworker was like, yeah, this has a 2, so the bag has a 1 tag on it, so that means that they go together. Then he confirmed with yeah, they go together. So for the Xbox here, I ended up getting a original Xbox console. Now this seems to be manufactured. Let's check out the manufacturing date. This has never been opened, by the way, but flip it around. This was manufactured on December 8th. Of 2004. So this would have to be a 1.6, which that's the last model. I'm not a big fan of those ones, mainly because I modify them and such. To hard mod them, the only way to hard mod is you have to install a chip. You cannot bridge a few points in TSOT Flash, unfortunately. And on top of that as well, too, it doesn't play all Xbox games in 480p properly. It plays a good amount of them, and then there's certain titles where they won't play, like they'll just bug out and be all distorted and such. Now there's fixes for those titles that you can apply, and if you apply those fixes with a modded console, only a portion of those games will work properly. So let's say, I'm just going to make up numbers here, let's say 80% of the Xbox library plays fine in 480p. That means 20% on this console here will not play in 480p. And then you end up applying the patches, and about half of those games will still not play properly in 480p. So you normally have to play those ones in 480i. So that's why the 1.6s aren't really my favorites. I mean, the only upside to them really is you don't have to remove the clock capacitor from leaking, so that's one nice thing. If you have a 1.6, you don't have to worry about the clock cap. But if you do have if you don't have 1.6, you have to worry about the clock cap. But I don't know, when it comes to the pros and cons, I would much rather have a console that is not a 1.6, because removing the clock cap is as easy as take apart the console, remove the disk drive, wiggle the cap a little bit, pop it out. If you have to, clean up that area with isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips, and you're good to go at that point. And you have all games working in progressive scan mode just fine. So that's my little spiel on it, but it was the console with this here, which is for the DVD remote, DVD player here. And here it is. Actually, let me remove these batteries before they start to go crazy and corrode. They are probably dead at this point, but let's see. When do they? Yeah, March 2011. That was the date on which they're good. So I doubt they're working too well right now. But let me just remove those real quick. Come on. Just get back on. There we go. So yeah, the DVD player remote. And fun thing on here, I'll just go into this real quick, because some people still don't know about this. The original Xbox obviously plays DVD movies, but the problem was they didn't have the licensing for it. So you know how, like, let's say on... I'm trying to think of an example. One more recent is the Switch. If you put in a micro SD card, you have to download a update in order to use it, and it formats it to exFAT. That's because the Switch will only run in it will only run its cards in exFAT with a license, and it has to essentially grab that license to utilize it. For the original Xbox to play DVDs, you had to end up buying this remote separately. And the reason why is because if you bought the remotes, that also meant that you bought the license. So this was like a $25 remote back in the day. So you bought a $300 console, and then you buy a $25 remote to unlock the DVD capabilities, because at that point, everything is built in there. This is just treated as the license legally when it comes down to it. Of course, once you modify a console, you can download like DVD X region free or something like that, and then you can just play games. Not play games, you can play DVDs from any region with your controller. That's fine. For anybody who might be thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's just another $25. Man, I remember this as well. I do remember it. I was actually pretty frustrated when I was a kid. For me, it was between a PS2 and an Xbox. I bought an Xbox. I was looking into DVD playback as well. So I remember I bought the Xbox. I rented some DVDs. None of them worked because they said I had to have this thing. So then I have to convince my parents, to buy me a $25 remote just to watch movies on here. So this is a very early 2000s issue. It's not an issue anymore, especially since you can mod. But anyways, I end up getting this, and it came with one controller S, but not just one. It came with two controller S's. Let's see here. Composite cables, which, composite. I don't know, I always use component at minimum on the Xbox, so it doesn't really matter that much to me. It also came with, let's see here, the power cable, which is just, a figure 8 power cable. Always welcome to have those. And it even came with a few games, which right here, I haven't even cracked them open yet, so let's do this real quick. I end up getting the not-for-resale copy of Crimson Sky's High Road to Revenge. And let's take a look here. Oh, wow, that looks immaculate. Damn. Whoever had this took a really nice care of it. Halo 2. Let's take a look at this. That one has a few scratches on it, but of course, that one was probably played and messed around with. And finally, Enter the Matrix. Let's take a look at this one. And these are all complete. That one has a few scratches, but nothing big at all. Cool. So, overall, came with all of these here. So, of course, you saw the price on here, but I'm not going to get into that yet. I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So that was not the only thing from this haul. This is only the Xbox stuff, you all. Right here, let's go ahead and move this out of the way a little bit. So I found a few other things. So right over here, right next to the Xbox, I ended up finding a PS2. And actually at this store, they had a PS2, a Wii, and an Xbox. So I looked at the PS2. And it came with the PS2 Slim right here, as you can see. It is a SCPH 75001 model, which I've heard quite good things about. So got that. Comes with the power supply for the Slim. This looks to be the one. I think the very last Slims end up using figure 8, but prior to that, they end up using this for that right there. But end up getting this. So also, since it's a 75,001, it also utilizes, you can use free McBoots on here, which is excellent. But yeah, I got this, got the power supply, got one PS2 controller, got a second PS2 controller, and I didn't even notice this until I pulled out the bag, because all these consoles were bagged up, except for the Xbox, but like it had a bag with all this stuff. But this was all bagged up, so I didn't even notice this until I opened it all. But it came with a max memory 64 megabyte memory card. Now remember, these memory cards were initially 8 megabytes, the official Sony ones. So Lily, don't fall asleep on me. That dog was over there falling asleep. But anyways, these things were initially 8 megabytes, so this is a pretty good deal, I would say. At least back in the day here. I would still recommend a Sony memory card, but still, hey. So we got all of that right there, and that was all together. I decided to grab that, and thankfully, this day, because the way they do it, as you can see, there's like a W here, and not on this, but normally things will have stickers or tags on them, and they do different sales on different days according to different tags. This I didn't even realize was on sale that day that I rolled in, so that was really cool. But that was not all that I ended up getting. I also ended up getting this little thing right here, which was just a KMD branded memory card. It is a GameCube memory card, it says, for Wii and GameCube, and as you can see, $3.99. And finally, yeah, that's it, finally. Now, this was the last thing I got from this stop in particular. I loved the box here, so I can clean this off, that's fine. But it is a GunCon for Time Crisis. So the original GunCon for the original Time Crisis game. I have the game, actually, but I didn't have the Namco GunCon here, and I didn't have the box. Now, one thing it says here, let's see. You'll need, it looks like this is sold separately. Yeah, so includes the GunCon with duck reload button for authentic arcade action, but of course this does not come with the game, because why would it? No, I think it came with the game before, but this time around it did not. But it doesn't include this cable right here, which I was kind of hoping it would just for completeness sake, but oh well. But still, it's the box, it looks nice, it has the GunCon inside of it, and I can just throw the game in it and we'll be good. I've had the game for years, really. And this, as you can see, $17.98. So now, I've kind of been skirting amongst the topic of the prices here. This is what everything had cost. So, when it comes right down to it, of course, this one has $17.98 on it, but now you have to remember, the guy I told you about was a little bit scatterbrained when he was ringing everything up. So, he ended up ringing up the PS2. The PS2 with the accessories was $30. But because of the tag color, it ended up being half off that day, which I didn't even know until we got up to the register. So this altogether was $15. The Xbox right here, with the two controllers, the games, and the cables and such, ended up being $40, of course. But I had a 30% off coupon for tags that were not on sale. So therefore, this one all of a sudden dropped down to $28 because I was able to save 30% on this, which was great. Now here's where it got a little bit funny. When the guy rung up everything, he ended up saying, okay, so you're aware the 30% off is only going to be for the Xbox, right? And I was like, I kind of outed myself on this. I was like, well, wait a minute. What about this as well? Because this is white. And the guy was like, wait, is it? Oh, my bad. I need to change that. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I put this in as blue, so it was half off, but no, you'll save 30% on it. So I'm just like, oh, man, because the PS2 was blue, so that meant I could have spent $2 on this. Unfortunately, I outed myself on that, so I ended up spending 80 cents more, so I paid $2.80 for this instead of $2, but that's fine, especially with something cheap enough like a brand new memory card, so that's all well and good. But again, I got the 30% off on the Xbox, I got the 30% off on the memory card, I got the 50% off on the PS2, and then when it came to ring everything up, I got one more item, but that wasn't gaming related, so I'm not including it in here. It was just, I'm not even being secretive about it, it was just like a spindle of blank CDs, and that ended up being 25% off, so I paid like $3 for that instead of $4. But when it came down to everything here, I saw the price, I was like, oh, that's a little bit low, and I paid. And then the guy put everything in a box, and that was it. And as I was walking out, I looked at the receipt, and I saw that this was not included. So, yeah, I ended up getting a better deal because I would have gotten on this, I would have gotten 30% off, but I ended up getting this for nothing, I guess. So, yeah. And that's not the first time this has happened with stores, not only at this thrift shop, and not only in this haul either, that's a funny thing, but there's been stores I've been to before where I've ended up, getting a stack of games and they forget to ring up one or two. I think I talked about this in another episode. They forgot to ring up one of my games, and when I brought it back and it was defective, they're like, oh, well, this one's defective, and we never rang you up for it, but you know what? That's our bad, and since it's a cheap enough game, you can go on your way. We're not going to charge you for it now because that's not fair. But yeah, so I end up paying nothing for Time Crisis, and then again, I end up paying just under $3 for this, $15 for this, $28 for the Xbox bundle. So overall, I would say good deal on everything. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the other stuff. So I'm just going to literally move this all out of the way here. This was, again, just one bundle overall with all of this here. Now, next up, we end up getting some good stuff from another place. Thankfully, some good stuff here. So, what I'm going to be doing is let's go ahead and grab everything. First of all, with the GameCube. So, I guess it must have been GameCube Day or something, because I found during this haul, so this was 2 days later, I ended up finding overall that day a lot more GameCube games than I normally end up seeing. So when it comes down to it all, let me go ahead and grab all the games and everything as well too from here. There we go. I think we're good on all that. Great. So we end up getting this GameCube here. Now, I saw it, and this was kind of like, it was in a bag, and it was kind of hiding on the side. And I asked, like, hey, could I check out that GameCube? And it seemed to be a fair enough price. Overall, it's in pretty solid shape. A nice silver GameCube, except it has this sticker here for Game Exchange in Springfield, Missouri. So somebody ended up voiding this somehow. I don't know. Like, why would you put it up on top there? Like, that's so pointless to me. Like, if you want to secure it, you put it... Oh, okay. There we go. So it was right here. Okay, so that's stupid. Someone opened this thing up, and then they put it up here, up top. I'm going to have to test this, by the way. But either way, got a GameCube right here. It is the good one, which in my opinion, these are the only ones that are worth picking up. It is the one with the digital AV out. So, end up getting this with the power supply and the composite cables here for $20. So not bad for a GameCube. That's, I mean, on the cheaper end of consoles that you're going to pick up with that. And then in regards to everything here, I end up grabbing a few games. So I think this is kind of a combination of two separate stores that I went to. One of them I got the GameCube from, the other one I did not. But I'll just go through the games overall with everything here. So first of all, I got a N64 game, got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on the N64 for $3 because this was half off. Paid $3 for Resident Evil 5 on the Xbox 360. Dynasty Warriors 5 on the PS2, this was $4. Dynasty Warriors 3 on the PS2, this was also $4. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the 360 for $3. SSX Tricky on GameCube, this is where we're getting to the GameCube stuff. $4.50 for this, which was a little bit higher. As you can see, we're going up on here, but still, since this was half off, $4.50. And this was weird, by the way, so it's kind of like a chain of stores I go to, and I think maybe they just shuffle around inventory. So as you can see, this has a Game Exchange sticker on it, right? As does this right here. But this was at the first store, and these were at the second store. So that leads me to believe that they were probably just moving inventory around or something like that, which I find to be a little bit funny. But yeah, I'm pretty sure these were all from, like, the GameCube games with the GameCube were from the same person who donated. But for some reason they got moved around. I don't know. Either way, SSX Tricky, as I said, for $4.50. Splinter Cell for $4.50. I picked this one up. I thought this was funny as well, too, because now I have it on all platforms. But one of my good friends and I, David, or Pathogen David, as you know him as, he and I were talking about this recently, and he ended up bringing up Splinter Cell. He's like, wait, do you have Splinter Cell on GameCube? And I said no. He was like, oh, well, I remember that was one of those games I had, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great game. I just remember it was kind of one of those games that was really surprising it was on GameCube, and a lot of people forget that it was on the GameCube because it's a game that you wouldn't expect on the GameCube to hit it. I mean, PS2 makes sense. Xbox makes sense. GameCube, what? I guess that was it back in the day. And by the way, these are also priced higher as well, too, so I believe, unfortunately, this store has the symptom of if it's Nintendo, we mark up the price. That kind of seems to be the overall consensus with it. Anything with Mario, the price shoots up. Most things Nintendo, the price shoots up. Anything that's a cartridge, the price shoots up. That's kind of an expected thing. But again, $4.50 for this. 007 from Russia with Love, $4.50. And finally, Halo 3. This was the limited edition of Halo 3. It came with 3 editions. There was the limited, the regular, and the legendary. And I have all of them, actually. But because of this, it actually ends up coming with, I believe, let's see here. Oh, man, this is not... Oh, they ripped it off. So as you can see, this is not in the best shape here. But the disc labels are a little bit different between all 3 of them. The regular, legendary, and limited all have different looking labels. And this one comes with the game disc, and it comes with... here, the Essentials disc, which the Legendary Edition also had, but the Legendary Edition comes with a 3rd disc, which is a DVD that has a bunch of other bonus stuff on it as well. So they're good to know. As you can see, it's missing it's missing one of the other documents that came with it. The manual there has the front and back pages ripped off. This doesn't have the overlay on it, like the slipcover overlay. The tin is not in the best shape. And one thing that the limited edition suffers from is that a lot of times, this was a big thing when it came out, a lot of times this thing was not holding the discs properly. So their disc would kind of just come like that, and you pay $80 for a game, and it's just kind of moving around in there like so. That was a big problem with these during shipping. Either way, though, some people might be thinking I'm complaining a little bit too much about it. Not really, because one, I have one of these that's in much better shape, and two, I didn't pay anything for this one. This is another one of those symptoms where I end up getting the GameCube, and I bought several of these games from that shop, and then when I got rung up, I end up paying. When I got out to the car, I checked my receipt, and saw that that was missing. The $5 game was missing. So I ended up getting a free copy of Halo 3 Limited Edition with it. It's not complete, but I'm not going to complain when it's free. So finally, when it came to the thrift stores here, I ended up going to one more shop, and I got 2 items from there. And I will show you all right here. The first of them was Infamous 2 on the PS3, and this one actually came through. There was actually some PS3 games there. There was Infamous, Infamous 2, and Uncharted. I already have Infamous, so I didn't pick it up. I don't like the Uncharted series, I'll be honest with you all. I had them on PS3, and then I sold them because I got them on PS4, and I tried playing through them, and I just didn't really like them, so I decided to leave that there. But I decided to pick up Infamous 2. All of them were complete, all of them were in great shape, and this was only $2.48, so about $2.50, not at all bad for this. Funny enough, when I was out shopping that day, I ended up even tweeting about this, and it got some good attention as well, too. I was saying, you know what, and I know this is kind of funny and ironic because I picked it up on PS3, but I kind of tweeted and said, you know what I would really be down for as someone who did not play on the PS3 as my primary console last generation? I would love a Infamous 1 and 2 HD collection, or, remake collection, I guess you can say. I would love that on PS4, and I think that would do really well, because I've heard nothing but excellent things about Infamous 1 and 2. Infamous Second Son and its spin-off Infamous First Light both released on the PS4, and they did pretty well, and these kind of suffer from that same symptom, I'm sure of, where a lot of people who bought PS4s did not have PS3s, and they missed out on a lot of those exclusives. And mainly, I don't really want to go back to a PS3 to play this. Funny, although, because as I said, I just picked it up. And I was like, you know what? You take Infamous 1 and 2, bump them up to, let's say, 1080p 60, throw in some 4K assets, something like that. If you have them take advantage of the PS4, put them both on one disc and sell it together for $40, I'll buy that day one. That is a day one purchase for me, because I would love to play the Infamous games on a current gen system if possible. And a lot of people actually really did agree with me on that. And to be honest, I'm actually shocked that we have not seen it. It's been how many years since Infamous Second Son first dropped, and we haven't seen it. I don't know, I'm really surprised with that. But either way, Infamous 2. And the last thing I got from this haul, right here, is a DS Lite. Now, if you were watching the previous episode of Thrifty Gaming Pickups, I ended up getting a red 3DS from a store. And I told you all that I was able to get the discount on that as well, too. Well, I ended up seeing this, and this was actually at that same store, and it had not sold, but it was half off. So they did the same thing. I ended up cleaning it off, but they ended up writing in crayon here what the tag was and what the price of it was, and I decided to pick it up. So it was only the DS. It's black, as you can see. It's in really solid shape. Aside from some light scratches and some smudging, it's in great shape. And the Game Boy Advance, the card reader here, I guess, this is just kind of, a dummy cartridge to keep it shut. But when I pulled this out, I had to actually use some good force on it. So I don't think anyone had ever popped in a Game Boy Advance game here. And it did include one game. It includes, let's see, Jewel Master Egypt. So I don't know, I guess some older user who had it. Either way, and this is one thing that shocked me, it came with the original stylus. That combined with the name of the person on here, I'm not going to say it even though I don't know them, but that combined with the name of the person on here, just the condition of this, the original stylus, the game, the name, I'm pretty sure this was owned by an older adult. So that explains why it was in much nicer shape. But this was initially $50, which in my opinion is, that's a GameStop price. That's even the upper end of a GameStop price for a DS Lite. That's like walking into GameStop and buying a DS Lite at that point. I ended up paying half off on this, so I paid $25 for this, which in my opinion is not bad at all, especially considering a few years ago, I want to say it was 2 years ago, GameStop, for whatever reason, just did a big clearance on their DS family. So the DS was $10, the DS Lite was $20, the DSi was $30, and the DSi XL was $40. That's actually when I picked up my DSi XL. I wanted to get a DS, like an original one, just for, just for collectability's sake, but that thing sold out immediately because it's a $10 console. So I find it funny, and the reason why I say that is because I'm sure GameStop kind of saw a lull in sales, so they decided to just clearance these out. They sold through their stock, of course, really fast. So they were selling these things for $20, and now they're selling on their site. They're still selling them, and they seem to be selling well enough, and they're selling these for like $40 or $50. So I don't know what it was with that. But either way, $25 for this, I'd say not too bad on there. Now, we have one more thing. Lily, come here. Can you come here, please? Lily, come here. This dog is so lazy, my God. All right. So we have one more thing, which I'll actually, you know what, Lily? I'm going to bring it to you. Oh my God, she thought, okay, now you're coming over. Because she thought this was food. She thought this was food because she hears the rustling and everything, so she wants to come over. Lily, come here. All right, there we go. Can you like sit or something, please? There we go. So here, our last haul, our very last haul, it's in this bag here. Well, the last part of this haul, I should say. And this was just picked up today. So big shout out to Half Price Books. That's what it was. I was blanking on the name. Half Price Books is awesome if you can hit them up. I was with my girlfriend today. She was like, you know what? Can we go to Half Price Books? I said, sure. And guess what they were doing, Lily? Guess what they were doing? They were doing a 20% off sale. So, of course, I do a beeline over for the gaming section, and I'll show you what I got. So when you see everything here, take the price and remove 20% from that, and that's how much I paid. So, Guitar Freaks on PS1. I thought this was really cool. Of course, I thought this was also funny. So many of their things say out of print, and they even have that on their stickers for all their cartridge games. If a cartridge is $5 or $45, they have it on there. So it's like, dude, this is Super Nintendo. I would think that anybody would know that's out of print. Come on, Half Price Books. But yeah, no, Guitar Freaks, and this seems to be pre-owned. but it comes in a really nice sleeve overall, and even has a spine card and everything. Japanese import as well. End up paying $10 for this, of course, take 20% off of this entire bag, so that was $8. XMen Mutant Academy. This regularly is $7. I'm really happy I actually have this because, funny enough, I used to have this in my collection. I don't know if I've told this story, so I'll tell it now. But I had this dude growing up on on the street that I lived on, and he used to borrow games from me. And at first, I used to go over to his place to play games. And then I got an Xbox, and this dude, it's like, I understand where he's coming from. Like, he's had a PS1 for years, and then all of a sudden, I roll through my first console as an Xbox. He's never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. So this dude, honestly, he went from being a honest friend of mine, and this is when I was in, by the way, guys, this is not anything recent. This is when I was in, 3rd grade, and he was in 5th grade. But he went from being an honest friend to a dude who was coming over to my house just because I had an Xbox, just because I had a toy that was shinier than his. So that friendship kind of just started dissolving, and he used to borrow my games, and he would borrow them and bring them back real well. And then it was taking him longer to borrow them. And then he was kind of hoping I would forget, because, I'm a naive little kid, and he would borrow a game from me and just not say anything. So he was borrowing games for 2 or 3 months at a time. And this is the last game he ever borrowed from me. And he took that shit from me because I never got it back. And I remember I kept asking him. I kept asking. I'm like, dude, I need my X-Men Mutant Academy back. I need it back. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to give it to you. The dude moved, right? So his family started packing, and he kept saying he was going to give it to me. He's like, oh, it's in my PlayStation. The disc is inside my PlayStation. I'm going to give it to you. I think it was a day or two before he moved, I was finally like, you know what, that is it. So 9 or 10-year-old me, I ride my bike over to his house, I knock on the door, I talk to his mom, and I'm like, hi, Mrs. Kid who keeps stealing my games. I know you all are moving in a couple days, but he has been borrowing my X-Men Mutant Academy, and I need my game back, because he's been promising to give it back to me, and he didn't. And she was just like, you know what, I'm so sorry about this. It's in his PlayStation. I've been telling him to give it back to you. I've been hounding him about it. He has not. It's in his PlayStation, and his PlayStation is packed up in a box. And she could tell I was disappointed, and she was like, look, and she even opened up the door and showed me all of his boxes downstairs. I was like, and she just said, look, I can open up the boxes and find the PlayStation and get the disc and give it to you, but look, man, everything here is packed. I have no reason to lie to you. Every single thing we have is packed, and I don't even know what box it's in. I just know it's downstairs. But when we move, I will unpack it, I will find the disc, and I'll send it to you. And I just went on her good merit, and I said, okay, thanks. Of course, I never saw that shit again, so it's nice to have this back in my collection. From what I remember, this game wasn't all that good. It was alright. The second one, X-Men Mutant Academy 2, was better. But the thing I wanted to get with this as well is one of my all-time favorite games, and a canceled, unreleased game called Thrill Kill. That's just one of my games that I hold near and dear to me. It was actually built... Well, okay, this was built using the same engine that was designed for Thrill Kill. I think Thrill Kill's engine was used for Rock'em Sock'em Robots, X-Men Mutant Academy 1 and 2, and Wu-Tang Shaolin Style. And if you look it up, Wu-Tang Shaolin Style is essentially Thrill Kill with rappers. That's really what it is. So the other 3 games just use the same engine. Either way, that's my spiel. I'm very happy to have this in my collection. This is actually nicer as well, because not only it was cheaper, but also it comes with the disc, the manual, and the back art as well, which my copy did not. So, wait long enough, you get an even better copy. Right here, I guess this is not at all gaming related, but it's in the bag. End up getting a movie. I got The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revelations. Why? Because they're good movies, and this was $3. Subtract 20%. That's how much I end up paying for this, which is great. Right here, got Dark Cloud on PS2. I actually fondly remember picking this up and playing this game, and nice to have it again at least, because I think I might have gotten rid of it, so nice to have it here. Always a good addition to the collection. Final Fantasy X-2. Now, I have this game several times. I have it on Vita, I have it on PS3, PS4, so why the hell did I get it on PS2? Because one, I always wanted to get it on PS2. I guess going into another story here, I had a friend who was going to sell it to me, I remember, and what ended up happening was he was going to sell his PS2, he was just tired of it. I think funny enough, he was going to sell his PS2 and all of his games. I'm not going to say for what yet. And I asked him, I was like, hey, you have Final Fantasy X-2? And he said, yeah. I was like, dude, I'll buy that off of you. He was like, okay, cool. Just like tell me how much you want, I'll bring it to school. And I kept asking. He's like, yeah, I know you want it. Like, I'll bring it. And then I think it was a few weeks later, I was like, hey, dude, like, can I buy X-2 off you? He's like, no, I already sold it. And I asked, wait, to who? Who do you sell it to? He's like, oh, I just took it to this game shop in town with all of my games and my PS2. This dude ended up selling his PS2 with all of his games for, I think, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Which, that's just so disappointing to me, man. But either way, this was $6 before the discount. I said, you know what? Very happy to have it in the collection. So Final Fantasy X-2 on PS2. This is also another childhood thing that I wanted. And I never owned this one, so it's not like this where I had it swiped from me. But this one, nice to have it in the collection for the first time. At least on PS2. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within on the original Xbox for $6. Red Steel on the Wii. I know this game is a little bit of a meme, but I never played it, and I never owned it, and I've always wanted to own it and play it, so this was cheap enough. I said, you know what, screw it, let's pick it up. Dead Rising 2 Off the Record on PS3. This was only $3 before the discount, so I said, you know what, screw it, let's go ahead and grab it. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. I heard good things about this, and this was $2 before the discount on 360. Assassin's Creed 3, $3 before the discount. Again, this was another clearance title. Quake 3 Revolution for $6 on the PS2. Now, funny enough, I actually did... This is another game from my childhood, I guess. I ended up owning this game, and I don't know what it was. I got it on sale from Sam Goody, if anyone remembers that. I got it from Sam Goody for like $20, which is a really good deal. And this shit never worked for me. I remember the furthest I could get, I could watch the initial cutscene, and right when it was supposed to load into gameplay, it would freeze every single time. It would just hard crash. So I think I just sold that. Because the disc looked perfectly fine, and the rest of it all looked good. But the game never ever worked for me, so I'm hoping this one does. So here's to hoping this works. Nice to have this in the collection, hopefully working. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance on PS2. I've always heard excellent things about Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1 and 2. I did not see 2 in stock, but the first one was in stock. Decided to pick this up. This is normally $15. Of course, take away 20%, and that's how much I paid. And the last game here, I believe, let me feel around. Yeah, that's the last game, is Siren on PS2. I remember I saw a lot of stuff about it. I think I even borrowed this from a friend and never got around to playing it. So it's nice to have it in the collection here. And this is $10 normally before the discount. So there we go. All good stuff from Thrifty Gaming Pickups. This is, again, this is kind of a nostalgic bundle right here, at least for me. Because we have a game that got swiped for me when I was a kid. A game I really wanted, but, I missed the opportunity, or more, the opportunity escaped me to pick it up for really cheap from a friend. A game that I had as a kid that never worked for me, and this was the latest one. This is in high school. A game that I borrowed from a friend in high school and never really got a chance to actually play around with, so good bundle right here at least. And again, these were even, in my opinion, the prices on them were already good. And then you just take 20% off and it was even better. That's why I'm saying, hey man, the bookstore, Half Price Books, that is the plug. That has been really good. Because the nice thing is as well too, they price their games pretty fairly. The ones I've gone to have a pretty nice collection of games as well, if you can find them. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And also they seem to be pretty particular with their stuff. So almost all the time when I buy games from there, almost all the time they're complete. And they're always in good condition because they don't resurface their discs or anything. So it's one of those things, if the thing is in bad condition or if the thing is too scratched up, they don't even take it. And plus, you have a guarantee. If you take the thing home and within a certain amount of days, I don't know what it is, but within a certain amount of days, if it doesn't work, you're able to take it back and, get your credit, whatever it might be. So that's what I really like about half-price books. You really don't have to deal with any bullshit when you buy products from them, like specifically games, because they do, I don't think they test out the games, but they at least make sure they're not bringing in stuff that's in poor condition, because that's just, their whole thing. Anyways, that has been it for this haul of Thrifty gaming pickups. I hope you all enjoyed it. Really hope you all do. This is the only thing. I'm going to give this thing a test and make sure this works because it has the warranty seals that have been voided. So this was opened up previously, and I don't really know for what. But let's see if this thing works. Alright, so this for the last test here, just checking this all out. As you can see, the GameCube is down here. It is working. And I know kind of a bit of a cable mess. And I have another GameCube there because I'm actually testing out a product here. Let's go ahead, pop this in, restart the console, come back up here. As you can see, that's all working. Now, I have the audio silenced, so that's why you're not hearing anything from it. Checking for memory card. Okay, I have to plug in a controller. But it looks like it's working so far. Let me grab a game real quick that doesn't really require a prompt. Alright, so everything seems to be fine. Let me turn this off. Here's one thing I want to show you all, because sometimes this blows people's minds. Either you get two reactions. Whoa, what? That's crazy. Or, that's not obvious. Are you serious? Make of that what you will. But let's go ahead. Oh, man, I'm not trying to drop everything. Let's pop in Splinter Cell. Yeah, that's Splinter Cell. It looked like it said Medal of Honor for a second. I think I'm just seeing things. But turn the console back on. Let's come over here. Oh, come on. Let me actually, there we go. I'm going to cut on the sound here. Let's go to the cam link. And there we go. All right, check that out. So, looks like we're all good to go on this, thankfully. Awesome. So just from this quick test, I don't really see an issue with why. Maybe somebody just decided to get a little bit curious and wanted to open up the console. But yeah, the GameCube is working, so I have no fear of that. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well, too. But if you dislike this video, you're going to make this dog here very, very sad. So sad.